Hey guys, once again we are back with another Sorrow Eternal interview. This evening we are very happy to have Marieke, the vocalist on the latest Grey November album, Fall of the House of Usher. So first and foremost, we want to thank you for your time and for the honor to conduct this interview. We really appreciate the opportunity. What does it mean to you to be labeled with the tag Dark Romantic Doom? How does the music connect with the romantic movement in France?
Hello, I'm Marieke, the singer of Grey November for the Fall of the House of Usher. First, we want to thank you for your interest in Grey November. We are very pleased and it's a real honor for us to answer this interview. To answer your question, the name Dark Romantic Doom corresponds to the combination of a form of traditional doom on the one hand, recognizable with the rhythm and the tone of the guitars, and a more singular aspiration on the other, for perhaps the expression of an ideal of beauty expressed through the omnipresent movements of strings. This strong presence of the strings brings only sadness and melancholy to the songs, and this is what characterizes our music. The term romantic is therefore the mark of this singularity. Also, as pointed out in your question, it is also a way for us to claim our commitment and at least our humble tribute to the artistic movement of the same name. The origin of Grey November coincides with a period when Cedric discovered this splendid movement, so rich and so emotionally powerful. Grey November has grown with the authors of this dark and luminous century. Of course, our music shares the same themes, the same obsessions, and the same pain. There is so much to say on this subject, and according to Cedric, no other artistic movement can be so close to what can evoke in its various forms doom. This is a sensitive music which can be violent, even beyond feelings it exudes, with powerful sounds and rhythms. Sensitivity and passion, yes. It could be a definition of French romanticism, through art and through blood.
The new album, The Fall of the House of Usher, is closely tied to the Edgar Allen Poe story of the same name. What is it about that story in particular that inspired you in creating this album?
A long time ago, Cedric discovered the text of The Fall of the House of Usher. This short story became one of his favorite texts. You should know also that the French translation is the work of Charles Baudelaire, one of the most flamboyant French poets of the Romantic movement, and more than any writer he was able to capture the full depth of Poe's work, adding a little of his genius to the original text. You just have to read the wonderful introduction of the text, only the first sentence, to be immediately snapped up by the wonderful atmosphere. Later, while growing older, while keeping an immoderate love for this text and style, going in the depths of Poe's work, Cedric became aware that he had a strong desire to go further with the text of The Fall of the House of Usher. Set it into music was an opportunity to delve deep into the text and its atmosphere, and it was a supreme pleasure. For the listener to understand, I have to precise that Cedric wrote the entire demo, text and songs, and I only put my voice on the music.
How difficult was it to turn such a famous tale into a doom metal album? Once the decision had been made, what was the writing process like in the early stages?
Once again, Cedric and I think that doom is perfect to turn into music such a text with this kind of atmospheres. We can't imagine another style of music to reflect the spirit of the Fall of the House of Usher. It was kind of an evidence. To create the album, Cedric adopted a purely chronological approach. Several themes have been distinguished in order to structure the songs. First, he introduced the House of Usher and the feelings it inspires. Secondly, Roderick Usher, and finally, Lady Madeline. The music describes then the long period of mourning that follows what the reader thinks is the end of Lady Madeline. At the end, the music expresses literally the fall of the House of Usher.
Your voice is the perfect complement to the music and embodies all the sorrow and despair that the story demands. How did you and Cedric come together, and how did you become involved in this project?
Actually, I'm the singer of another band which is called Eonia. It's a melodic metal band with progressive influences, so it is totally a different style of music. Cedric visited my MySpace page and liked my voice. When he contacted me for this project, I listened to songs from the preceding album, D'automne, and was very, very impressed by all the emotions Cedric can bring to people with his music. Although I never worked on a romantic doom project, even a doom project, I decided to get involved in this project immediately when I heard the musical parts of The Fall of the House of Usher. I read a lot Edgar Allen Poe when I was younger and had been particularly touched by this novel. The songs of Cedric fitted totally with the atmospheres of the story of Poe. I recorded my voice on the first song and Cedric liked it a lot, so I was in. The funny thing is that we never met during all the process of creating and recording the album, since we are living far from each other, and it was also an interesting experience to work on this project talking only via emails.
In doing interviews with other doom metal bands and musicians, one thing they've all told us is how difficult it can be to find a vocalist that can sing at a doom metal pace but still maintain a level of melody and beauty. As a singer, how hard is it to fit into that mold while still putting your personal touch to each track?
I think I'm not the best person to answer this kind of questions since I'm not really a doom metal singer. I was really anxious when I began to work with Grey November because I was not sure to be able to pass all the emotions I wanted through my voice. Fortunately, Cedric helped me a lot. He had a very precise idea of what kind of singing he wanted for The Fall of the House of Usher, and he guided me all the recording process long. I have done my best to pass all the sadness and sorrow of the novel through my voice, and I hope I succeeded a little bit.
The album is more a work of art rather than just a metal album. Describe the sense of pride you share after creating something as passionate and involved as this piece was.
Without being able to judge the quality of our own album, we are indeed proud, because the result fits perfectly with what we expected, and it reflects our vision of the text of The Fall of the House of Usher. We hope it is a sufficiently good tribute to the work of Edgar Allan Poe.
One of the elements of the album that we found so impressive was that it plays like a movie without the picture. You've brought the story to life through music and words alone. Was that ever the intention, or did the project just take on a life of its own?
Our desire was indeed to be as close as possible to the text. We wanted that it could accompany the reading of the text. And Cedric composed the songs reading and reading again the text of the novel. He wanted to be imbued that with all the emotions of The Fall of the House of Usher to pass them through music. The approach was mainly this one. After that, we wanted also to exacerbate the emotions with the addition of discrete sounds through the album. The warning shots of the threatening storm, for example, or the melodic improvisations of Roderick Usher on his lute on tracks 2 and 5. Finally, we think that the most eloquent example is certainly the track 4, which uses only sounds to depict the atmosphere of a very special moment of the story. It would have certainly been awkward to adapt this coldness with music.
How has the reaction to your album been thus far, both from the fans and from music press? Do you find that people in some areas of the world are more receptive to your work than others?
Actually, Grey November has no label, so promotion and distribution are difficult. Unfortunately, there exist open-minded people like you who enable us to express ourselves and to present our work. The first few returns from the press are very good, as well as those of fans. Our genre is unique in the fact that we sell a few albums, but we sell it worldwide. For a country, we can point out Russia, for example, where we sell a large number of copies. It is an audience of connoisseurs who does not want to hear about MP3, but only original CDs. They are extremely receptive to the music of Grey November. Strangely, we have sold no copies of our album in your beautiful country, although it is the country of birth of Edgar Allan Poe.
One of the common misconceptions from people outside the metal world is that emotion and art have just no place in metal. Your album really rips that theory to shreds. How important is it for you to include deep emotions in everything you do musically?
Actually, emotion is essential. For us, it is where the music finds its roots. For Cedric, the only way to compose music is by privileging emotions. Moreover, the natural melancholy of Cedric leads Grey November near the absolute and dangerous feelings and emotions. This is for us the ideal. Grey November lives between the beauty of sadness and the sadness of beauty. It is pure emotion. Concerning the qualification of a work of art, it is a complex issue. Cedric, through his writings, has developed its own definition of art. Art is the beauty that comes from the pain of living. Seen from this viewpoint, of course, our adaptation obeyed to this aspiration. Finally, it would be unwise to answer this question without once again tribute to Edgar Allen Poe. His texts could fit the bases that are the most conducive to the field of art. All the themes of Poe's texts concern the very foundations of human psyche. They cover the spectrum of the more metaphysical themes: life, death, art, regret, guilt, sense of life and creation. Men face their own downfall, their own nothingness and absurdity. It was impossible not to encroach on art by adapting these texts.
After this massive endeavor, what's next for Grey November? What can we expect from future albums?
The next release of Grey November will probably be a musical adaptation of another novel or short story. However, it is still too early to announce which one it will be, so we'll see.
All of your work is available for purchase and download on Vibe Deck. For the fans who value physical CDs like we do, where can they get a copy of The Fall of the House of Usher or any of your other discs?
Our music is indeed available on www.vibedeck.com. This is the easiest and fastest way to get it for a very little amount. In the absence of label, our CDs are only available directly from us in direct order. So people can contact us through the following email address. This is greynovember@sfr.fr. It is also very important for us to sell our CDs with a well-finished packaging and an artwork which extends the experience of our universe, including photographs and lyrics to which special care is provided.
We really want to thank you again for answering our questions. It's always an honor to interact with great musicians and people such as yourself.
We would like to thank you for the interview as well as for the quality of your questions. Our first review of The Fall of the House of Usher has been yours. It is very bright and full of intelligence and sensitivity. So, thank you very much again.